So I came out the Borderlands movie, and I'm going to give you a different perspective than probably a lot of people. I'm funny. I've only played, or haven't really only played one, didn't even finish it or get through just because of other games. I have Tiny Tina's Wonderland because I'm not the biggest with first person shooters. They sometimes mess with me, give me headaches. But I like the concept of that and everything. But anywho, um, I'm going to start off with the positives, and I'm going to talk about several of the negatives on there. I don't think Borderlands deserves a 0. I don't think it's like the worst thing ever. Like people are saying, "Oh, it's the worst in the video game." I'm like, I don't think it's the worst. If it's a popcorn flick, if you sit down and you watch it and you don't connect it to Borderlands, kind of similar to Final Fantasy Spirits Within. It's not a horrendous movie, but as soon as you attach Final Fantasy to it, it brings the movie way down. I know things about Borderlands. I think there's sometimes video games that I may not be able to play. I do like the story. For example, I love the character Creek. I know his whole story from start to finish. Even with me not playing it, like he's my favorite character. My friend showed me his trailer. I fell in love with his trailer. When you would see how a psycho works and stuff, and I fell in love with that character. I think the actor that they picked was good for it. Size why he sounded like him. He had his mannerisms. I do think the casting in some aspects was a mistake, but we'll get to that in a minute. The action sequences were fine. The CG to me was fine. There was only one or two parts where the CG really kind of stood out, where it's like a little bit. But overall, I thought it was fine. A little green screeny sometimes, but nothing that really would bother me compared to like a lot of things I've seen. I thought it was fine. And I think this movie was shot, I think they said like 2020 or something like that. I do find it funny that Jamie Lee Curtis turned around and said, when they asked her this phase of Marvel, she was like, "Oh, it's bad." And you got this movie that's like doing worse than I think any of some of the worst Marvel stuff, even She-Hulk and everything. I thought the action sequences was good. I thought the pacing at parts was clunky, but overall was fine. It was a very easy digestible MacGuffin story. It was very boom, 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 boom. I feel like this movie can literally be a one and done, which I think it is, because I don't think they're going to make a lot of money with this. But it gives you a beginning, a middle, and an end. So if you like it, it's at least like if you're a person that goes, "Hey, I really do enjoy this movie." People always have those movies that they really like, whether everyone likes them or not. I have my movies like that too, where I'm like, I don't care. I like this movie. Everybody else can say they hate it or whatever. My opinion to me is the only one that truly matters. So, I have movies like that too, where, like for example, to keep it on theme, the original Doom movie. I actually think that movie's pretty cool. I have a friend who also thinks so too. I thought what they did with the concept, how they made the Doom guy, how they did the whole thing, I actually enjoy that movie. Another one I enjoy a lot is Alien vs. Predator Requiem. I actually don't understand why people hate on it so much. I don't see it. And their criticisms to me don't make sense. When they talk about Requiem, I'm like, your criticism actually doesn't make sense. It's a very straightforward Alien Predator, Alien kind of movie, and the criticisms, no, that movie's just a good movie. Just people hated on it. The first movie, story time wise, was better. But which one I have more of a good time with is the second movie. I have a great time with that movie, and it has my favorite Predator in it. So, just to say right there. But not everybody's going to agree. So anyone who likes this film, it's at least you get a complete film. Which is nice, because I can't stand when people don't like a movie, or and I may actually like it. I'm kind of curious about the next movie, but it did so bad and they kind of set it up, and it's like they could go back into that world and do their thing, but they're not but they don't have to, and you're fine where it's at. So those are the positives. That I can think of. Like I said, I thought the CG was fine. I thought the world was okay or anything. Now we're going to go into the negatives. It may get spoilerish, so I'm just warning you now. Firstly, I think the casting was not good. And it's not actually because the people did a bad job. That's the funny part. At least in my opinion. It's because it didn't fit. what I know of to be Borderlands, what I've seen of Borderlands, and what it is. Like for example, Jamie Lee Curtis's character, she's too old. Kate Blanchett's character is too old. They changed Tiny Tina's story, which she's another character I actually really grew to like the concept of. But they like changed her origin, if I'm not mistaken. I was like, I don't think that was her original origin, and I don't know. I was like, they were kind of putting the focus, and they were trying to do a twist, and Eli Roth was trying to do that, and I was like, that was unnecessary. Kevin Hart, for example, I don't think he did a bad job as Roland. Overall, I actually wouldn't mind seeing Kevin Hart in more action movies. Like I said, I don't think he did a terrible job. However, that's not Roland. For what they're given, I'm talking about the script that is given to them. That's not Roland. Roland's a big black dude, stuff like that. General Knox, for example. I love the actress. I'm trying to say her name right, Jennifer Gakar, and I'm glad. I know I just butchered her name. Gavin Carr, I think is her last name. I like her. There's certain actors and actresses that I just enjoy as a actor, whether good or bad. Sophia Boutella is one of them. I love Sophia Boutella. I will watch her in pretty much anything, no matter if it's bad. Like, she was the only major bright spot in the Mummy remake movie. She was amazing. Everything else was like, because it was like it couldn't figure out the tone. So Yana is another one. I remember seeing her in this really indie film called, I think it's called Cup of Blood or Cup of My Blood or something like that. That's the first time I've ever seen her. And I don't even think it's on her IMDb page. It's like a super indie underground. That was the first time I seen her. I think it's one of those movies where actors don't want people to see, kind of thing, or they don't want them to mention it or something. Because it's that, like, they were really just trying to get the job in. So I like her. However, that's not General Knox. And I know that because, like I said, it's the same thing with like Overwatch. I actually know things about Overwatch, not because I play it, but because I like the story. So I do read and check out things of the story and watch trailers and storyline stuff. A few games are like that for me. And, I think General Knox was the Borderlands villain of the third one. And he was like a white dude in like a robot suit with a cigar. And they changed it and created this weird dynamic between Roland and General Knox, which I thought was unnecessary and just why. And even the way they took it was like the way General Knox ended. It was kind of like that character was an entire villain for some form of a storyline, and you kind of had them as an extra, which comes to my next problem with this film. And like I said, there's things I actually did like about the movie. Like I wasn't sitting there, like people were like, I was bored, and I was like, I wasn't bored or nothing. It was just, I knew there was things there and how they could have fixed this. The cast, I felt like nobody got their time. So for an ensemble cast, they mainly focused on Lilith and Tiny Tina, and everybody else was kind of just there. And there were some weird things, like for example, how Krieg was a part of the team was kind of odd, but it felt like they just wanted to throw them all together. And I thought that was kind of weird, the way it felt and how they kind of put it. Yes, it felt like there was a group and they were already there. And I thought when they were interacting, this is going to sound weird that I say this, the chemistry was there, but it wasn't there. It wasn't enough time. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, just to use an example, because a lot of people are, because it does feel like Guardians of the Galaxy and Suicide Squad together. Even the first Suicide Squad movie, whether you like it or not, I actually think the Suicide Squad movie one was a pretty decent movie. There's things I would have changed, but I don't think it was a bad movie. The other people, like, I have friends like, it's terrible. I don't think so. I don't agree. Sorry. I don't think the DC movies are bad, and I think people who think they are kind of weird to me, because Marvel has had some bad ones, but they'll let those slide. Anyway. There was still a build-up of camaraderie, and you started to see how people interact and how they kind of go back and forth with each other. And this movie's not super long, but the problem is you don't see that. So you just see them in it, and the chemistry is not enough because Krieg, and this doesn't really talk a lot. He says his pieces when he does. I'm a little, and I can say this as I'm thinking about it, I'm a little annoyed he didn't say I'm the shiniest meat bicycle. He did say some other stuff that was cool, kind of exposition to a degree, but, and he said stuff, but I would have liked to have seen him say some things from the game. And But I really like Krieg where he was like, I put my pain in your body. Like, stuff like that. And he said things like it, but not to the same level. I'm like, I kind of wish you would have used the video game stuff. He said things that was enough to go, but he was like, Bernie hard. Or, one of my favorite lines that he did say was, and like I said, this is spoiler territory. He's like, nobody kills Krieg, but, nobody kills me but me. Like that was full Krieg right there. And, I love that character. I really do. I would watch a movie just about that character. They didn't do Krieg's inner voice, which I was like, I thought he looked great. He sounded great. He did it. But then he was talking very individualistic. So then I was like, wait, is this after Krieg's end story? I'm getting to that part for the spoiler of the game. But then I was like, why is he not? Where's that voice? Like, why aren't we talking? And why doesn't it seem like he's listening to somebody? He just seemed like a big muscle, me big, me protect, caveman kind of thing, which wasn't horrible, but there's some things I expect from Krieg. And overall, the guy did a great job. I think even for what they gave him, I don't think he was bad, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more about that. Just to give you an example, it was weird how they did the rolling thing. Claptrap was fine. Their attempts at the comedy, I will say this, I wasn't really laughing. I thought the humor, like, it wasn't so bad that it had me rolling my eyes, like when Doctor Strange was like, Beyonce, Beyonce? And it felt like they were waiting for the boom, boom. And he's like, huh, everybody, get it? Like, no. It wasn't to that level. That, to me, was just, like, stupid, because that was Marvel when they were just overdoing their comedy. And not focusing enough on the story. This one had it where the jokes were just there, and it kind of fell flat. Like, I think there was like 3 times I chuckled. I'm trying to think of them. I know there's one thing that kind of happened that made me chuckle. Something Tiny Tina did, which felt like Tiny Tina, made me chuckle. Which I also found it a little odd on that, but the overall, like, she had something that made me chuckle, and Roland had something that made me chuckle. But even then, it was like, okay, you know what I mean? They could have done a little bit better with some of the stuff. They could have, and I think they should have put a little bit more into each character, to make you connect more. It felt like you were on a ride, and the chemistry, like I said, it was there, but it wasn't there. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy felt like a family. Suicide Squad felt like they were in a situation and they kind of bonded over it. And then you get to Suicide Squad 2, same thing. It felt like there was a bonding. This one, it felt like they kind of skipped a step. So there was they were there, you kind of know, but they kept it, Eli Roth kept it way too simple. Like, way too simple, where they were just there and you were just supposed to accept what they were doing, which I thought shouldn't happen. I don't hate Eli Roth movies, by the way. I think some of his movies are really interesting. I think some of his concepts are interesting. I think I did like the Aftershock movie, but he has a certain type of flavor that's not always the best, my personal opinion. Like Hostel, I have the first one or whatever. I thought there was some good in Hostel, but I thought as I've watched it over time, I don't think it's as good. I think it was more just like gore porn. For just sakes. I mean, yeah, there's a way you can do it, and I think he did it like that. So, for this being a big budget movie, I do feel bad for him because I can definitely tell they put in some work. I can definitely see that there was some real effort, but then I can see where it lacked. There was an ensemble of characters, and it didn't feel like it was an ensemble. Like, the whole time, Tiny Tina kept going, I'm the most important person. I'm important. I'm important. I'm important. I'm important. I'm important. I'm special. I'm special. I'm special. And I'm like, okay, so that's telling me you're not special. And why are we doing this? And it started making obvious who was special. Like, it kind of did some stuff. And, like I said, some of the casting of the characters, I may try to put them on the screen. They're not matching who they're supposed to be, look wise, sound wise. It felt like this was a Hollywood cash grab, and they went, okay, what big actors can we get in here? Oh, let's get the bigger, which I'm looking at these video game movies and I'm like, we've been having some good video game movies. Like, I don't say this is like on the level of Tekken. Tekken's movie was horrible, and King of Fighters was not that great either. And I'm a King of Fighters fan, so that movie was, whoa. Those two movies, oh no, those were bad. And Street Fighter, what was it? Street Fighter Legacy of Chun-Li. Those three movies are horrendous. So I don't think it's to that level, and I don't think it deserves to be on that level. I would put this up with more like Monster Hunter. Not a terrible time. I rewatched Monster Hunter the other day. And Monster Hunter's not bad. But there's things they could have did to move it along, but it wasn't like horrible. I think a lot of people are starting to like Monster Hunter's movie because for an adventure movie and stuff, it's actually fun and it's not horrible. Like, it's fun and you can sit through it, watch it, be fine. I could sit down and watch this movie again and be fine. But there was a lot of problems. I do not like the fact that they swapped characters. I don't like that they made some of the characters old, and it felt like they were going for name recognition versus story and character thing. So I spent like $5 to go see this movie. So it's whatever from my side. If I didn't have it, I probably wouldn't have. I'm going to say that even with this, I was expecting this movie personally to be hot garbage. There is a couple other things. One, it should have been rated R. I think it would have been better if it was rated R. They got to stop with all these PG-13 movies when there's things like Let There Be Carnage. I like that movie. It would have been better if it was rated R. And same as Venom. They got to, we're seeing rated R movies do well. Deadpool and Wolverine, Joker and stuff. You can make a rated R movie and people will still go see it if it's a good movie. You got to stop, especially with this game, how it's like shooting people and stuff. Like, I can't tell you, I didn't even see the blood. I saw like violence and like mayhem, but there was things where I should have seen like meltingness and more gross stuff, and I didn't because it was PG-13. You got to stop making everything PG-13. Sometimes if it's a story that's kind of rugged or rigid, make it R. And I think that definitely made this film suffer. There was some kind of quick cuts where I can say that I'm wondering if they did originally try to make it rated R, because there's certain parts where I'm like, I feel like y'all were trying to do something there. And there were some definitely obvious things on the MacGuffin when they did the big switch on who's special. Like, I was like, it was super obvious. And I didn't even know about that part. And I'm like, I can see it there. So, I'm not trying to make this video too long. I'm sorry that it is a little long. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. I'm going to say my rating, is definitely a sinking ship. Not even needs bacon. There's enough on there that I don't know if this will become a guilty pleasure for people. It didn't have enough to be so bad that it's good kind of thing. I feel like it's an okay movie if you want to just watch a quick action popcorn flick with a really simplistic, super simplistic storyline. That's kind of just like all right, this is a little fun to watch. Boom, boom, booms. Okay, they're doing this, they're running that, they're doing that. But I do have to say it's a sinking ship. If you wanted to wait till streaming, I could say that. And I feel bad because the girl who, Greenblatt, who plays, young Ahsoka, young, Gamora and stuff, this was like, to me, like one of her bigger breaks to give her a part, and I think she did fine. But I am going to say this movie's not like great. It's not awesome. I was just happy that when I was watching it, I wasn't sitting there going, oh my God, this is so terrible. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, okay, it's just fine. Okay, I'm having a fine time. Oh, cool. It did a lot of action. A lot of the action for me, now some people said the action felt flat. I thought the action was actually fine. I thought it was cool, space action or whatever. But like, even for the psychos, like they go, here's psychos. Nothing. Just, they're just psychos. There's just people on Pandora. And then it's like, okay, now here's these versions of the psychos. And it's like, they're just crazier versions. Like, it would do things like that. It was very, like, Claptrap. It was like, Claptrap. Well, he's this. Like, that's how the movie was the whole time. It was a lot of, let me just throw everything at you and not be cohesive enough at the same time. It was cohesive enough to follow. That's what I'm saying. It was easy to follow, easy to digest. They shouldn't have gender swapped the character. I hate that. I hate race swapping and gender swapping. Use the character as it is or don't do the film. I know they try to do it to say diversity and stuff. I just don't like it because there's other characters you could do, especially when it's something that has like a media, like for example, comic book movies. I can't stand when they do that because you don't have to. Get the character. Guarantee you with comics and stuff, there's a character that you can put in there that will fit the thing you're looking for. but instead they'll race swap a character, they'll gender swap a character, they'll do orientation of a character, and they'll change that, and they'll make them straight or gay when they don't need to be. Like, I'm like, just go get the other character, get a character that can do it, do a little research, do a little time. I think this movie would have been better if it wasn't Borderlands. Kind of like Final Fantasy Spirit. I think if they would have just did a story, this kind of story, and you take Borderlands out of it, I think it's a better film. And that's how I approached it. And I think that's why I don't have like a total, garbage fire. It's because I did also approach it as, all right, well, what if this wasn't Borderlands? And it is a better film if it's not, if you don't connect it to Borderlands. Now certain things get kind of, you don't hold to the same caliber, but because the fact that it is based on Borderlands, it does definitely hurt the movie. Because like Kevin Hart, they're like, oh, you're the shorter shoulder. The dude is Roland is like a big dude. So little things like that. Like I said, it's a sinking ship. If you wanted to wait till streaming, I wouldn't blame you. If you want to check it out for cheap, it's not that long of a film and you can kind of get through it. But personally, if you want to wait till streaming, I would say that's okay. That's all I can think of. I don't want this video, like I said, going too long. So Geek Protagonist, you stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real. Tell me if you've seen it. Like I said, it was almost it was almost a dumpster fire. Like, you know what I mean? It was almost hot garbage. But sinking ship, I can, like I said, I can get some things out of it and it was fine. But if I never saw it, it wouldn't have made a difference. We'll put it that way. So that's why my thing sounds weird where I'm like, oh, okay, I could sit through and watch it again. I could, but it's like, okay. But if I never see it again, that's fine too. But I don't think the movie deserves a 0. I don't think it's the worst thing ever. I don't think it's horrendous on every level. But I think as a fan, if you're a person as a fan, you're not really going to like it. And if you're a person like space movies, space action adventures, you should be fine. But it definitely falls short of Guardians. Definitely falls short of Suicide Squad and other ones. Geek Protagonist, you stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real. Tell me what you think, and I'll see ya.